Incoming transmission.
Picture this. A recording studio somewhere far, far away.
Welcome, Watchers of Illusion, to my Castle of Confusion on the 26th of April 2019, and I'm looking at Shadow Warriors on the ZX Spectrum, developed by Ocean and released in 1990. Now this is an arcade conversion and doesn't seem to support joysticks, so I'm going to try keys. So press fire to start. We will get cracking on this game as soon as I can figure out what does what. You can see the presentation's already quite nice, the music's nice, and that's, well, the music stops. Yay! That's a shame. Okay, so, big sprites. We like big sprites, but the music's gone, which is a shame, because that would have been quite cool going through the game there. I believe I'm flashing there because I'm now invulnerable to pain, or damage as you say. Let's have a look at the heads-up display first. So in the top left you can see our score, which is a easy for me to say, magnificent 0. Energy below that, that's how many hits you can take before you lose a life, and then your lives are shown at the bottom there with the 2 red swords. High score table and a rather fetching ninja in the middle. Right, so controls, easy enough. Up and down, left and right, and space is the fire button. I've lost a life already. Right, you can, if you've seen my review of the arcade game of this, you will understand that you can do a sort of a jump, throwing, grab type technique. You can do this on the Spectrum version, but it's a bit hit and miss, to be quite honest with you. And it's just probably easy just to stand there with your finger on the space bar and just let yourself kick them to death. I love the fact that the enemies are exactly as they are on the arcade. I think that's brilliant. The main sprite is a little meh, but the enemy sprites are brilliant, gotta say. And you'll notice as well, which is a bit of a rarity in Spectrum games, there's no colour clash. And that's a real plus point for this game. Look at these guys. But I love the fact they've taken the time to get the mob types correct to the arcade, which is nice, even if they are a little bit... The AI isn't the most intelligent, shall we say. But all in all, you know, it's Shadow Warriors on the Spectrum. That's a very purple man. But yeah, it's not a bad effort, really. I mean, graphically, it's superb. It's actually really nice. I just wish the main sprite looked a little better. As far as I know, it's only a 1-player game as well. There doesn't seem to be a 2-player option. But then, with this level of detail, I'm not really surprised, to be quite honest with you. I mean, they've squeezed an entire arcade game onto a cassette here, so that's actually pretty good. Now, it's 128K, which obviously means that it's got a bit more memory to play around with. Not a hell of a lot more. As you can see, there's a mob to the right-hand side waiting to come into action, but he's not going to do anything until the others have gone. Now, the other thing that I'm going to say, this gets a bit frustrating, is that if you get caught, even once, by an attack, then you are literally stunned, and there's nothing you can do about it. You've got to basically get kicked in the face until you... yeah. Bit annoying, but, you know, what can you do? This was just one of those little annoying features. It's a bit like Target Renegade when you got, or Double Dragon when you got double team. There you go. Like, there's nothing I can do now. I'm just going to have to take the hits and become invulnerable. Haha! So I'm going to try and play through this for at least the first level for you guys to have a look at. I mean, to be fair, it's actually not it's not bad at all. Gameplay wise, it's, well, it is what it is. It's a beat 'em up. The sort of the running animation's a bit weird, and they do all look like they're leaning over a little bit strangely as well, which is quite odd. But if you look at them, they don't look like they're standing up properly. These guys look like giant Lego men as well, which is great. But yes. But graphically, I can't fault it, guys. Sound-wise, there's really not much to write home about. There's nice intro music on the title screen, and I suppose the punches and kicks are alright, but it's not brilliant. There we go, I'm stuck in that loop of getting kicked again. yeah, that's a screen you're probably going to see quite a lot of as well. I mean, you do. I think it's 5 continues you get, which is quite nice. But there you are. Replay factor, I don't know. It depends how much you enjoyed the arcade game, I suppose. I mean, if you like these sort of games, these beat 'em ups, I think you probably would come back to it. It's a shame there's no 2-player option, but you know, you can't ask for everything. Black boxes around the characters are kind of evident when you go past scenery such as this. But you know what? It's such a minor fault. I'm not really going to pick hairs on that one. Obviously, it's a side-scrolling beat 'em up, and this is where I think this is where the last boss should be. So we'll have a look at that in a moment. Playability, it's just fun. It is a fun game. It's not the arcade, but then you can't really expect it to be on the humble spectrum. Look at this guy. He's amazing. Yeah, it is only 1 player, unfortunately. I think 2 players would have just been a bit too much for the humble spectrum to have handled. Somebody get this guy a bra. Look at him. Look at him. But there we are. But yeah, all in all, I can't really complain too much. Sure, there's things they could have improved on, maybe smaller sprites, and then we could have had a bit more going on. It's fairly fast as well, to be fair. I mean, there's very little slowdown, even when you've got quite a lot of enemies on the screen, which is quite nice. He's taken a few hits, isn't he? I thought the flashing would have meant that we were doing damage to him, but apparently they get the same invulnerability that you do. So when you knock him on his fat backside there, well, there we go, we've cleared the round. Excellent. So far it's arcade perfect as far as the scenery goes, as far as the level goes, and the combat. Oh, I remember these guys with the logs, they're annoying. Right, so a couple of smacks with that and you're down. Now you can actually hang off those posts, because I've played this before on the Specky. So you can actually hang off those. There you go, there's the grab throw, but it doesn't look quite as impressive on the Specky as it does on the arcade. It just seems to be very disjointed the way he kind of just chucks them. On the arcade version, obviously they sort of handstand over the top of them and grab them by the head, but that's sort of cool. Now this, I think, was Shadow Warriors. I think was Ninja Gaiden, I think, in the States. Don't quote me on that, but I believe that Shadow Warriors is the non-US version of how you would do it. Just, yeah, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I believe that this was Ninja Gaiden, otherwise called. But it's quite good. I mean, a lot of people say that the arcade was a mediocre experience, but I actually quite like the arcade, plus with 2 players as well at the same time. Always good to have a co-op game with your mates. And I remember completing this one. It took me a while, and I think quite a few credits as well, to be quite honest, but I remember very clearly playing this on holiday one year. And it was part of a little sort of mini arcade along with Pac-Mania and a couple of fruit machines. That's how we rolled when we were kids. But yeah, really happy with this, the way that they've done everything. A couple of things that I would have liked to have seen different. The sprites being too big, I think, doesn't help this, and some of those running animations could have just been tidied up just a little bit more. The fact that there's mobs standing there doing nothing is a bit of a weird choice as well, as far as AI goes, but never mind. Anyway, that is Shadow Warriors on the ZX Spectrum. I hope you've enjoyed the review, and I hope you've all had a great week, and I will see you next time. And have a great weekend, everybody, and keep it retro, and I'll catch you next time. Bye for now.